For the last, I don't know, 3-4 days, I recently read the book, The Psychology of Money. It's one of the, I guess, few financial books I've read. This book was first published in 2020. Pretty sure this is like the first edition or whatever. So what this book is not, is it's not a self-help book. It's not like Dave Ramsey's books or anything that walks you through finances. It's not a book that teaches you how to invest exactly. It doesn't say we recommend single stocks, we recommend hedge funds, we recommend index funds. It doesn't do any of that. It doesn't teach you how to budget. It doesn't talk about budgeting. It doesn't talk about how to save. It's not telling you to slash your coffee every day or your energy drink or your cigarettes or drive less, walk to work, anything like that. It's not telling you to get a second job. It's not telling you to work 60 hours a week like Dave Ramsey or one of those guys would do. And it's not teaching you how to get out of debt. It's not even teaching you how to get rich or giving you a promise of how to get rich. It's none of those. This book is The Psychology of Money. It's how to think about money, how to reframe money based off of the American viewpoint. If you're living in Asia, if you're living in an African country or Europe, I don't know how well this will apply to you when it comes to some of the specific examples, but other than that, it probably will. But with all that said, to say, it does teach you or give you a framework on how to do those things. It just doesn't give you a list that goes A, B, C, D leads to E, F, G. You should be able to come up with a reason of why to save or how to invest, or at least move you in that direction after completion of the book. Like I said, it's not a guide. It's more of a push forward. Get you started on a journey, or if you're already on the journey, how to keep moving forward. There's 20 chapters in the book, and I use the term chapters kind of loosely because they're not necessarily related. So you don't have to read chapter 3 to understand chapter 4. Even in the book, they say that you can read them chronologically, or you can jump around as you want. Now, do they build upon each other? They do. After completing the book, I would recommend just reading it from 1 to 20, but you don't have to. It wouldn't take away from it in any capacity, but I don't see a benefit to jumping around. The only time I would say that is if you're on a second read, a third read, or you're just thinking about something on your way to work or on a walk or a run or something like that, and you want to just go back and specifically look at it. But other than that, there's no real reason to jump around. So there's an introduction, 20 chapters. It's not a very long book. And then there is a postscript. Not sure why they didn't just make it chapter 21. But then there's a postscript. So all in all, it's about 240 pages. I think I read it in 4 days, a couple sits throughout those days. But it's a very easy read. Nothing in here is complicated. There's nothing in here that is out of the ordinary. They're not trying to make themselves appear more than they are. The book really is a combination of philosophical ideas, psychology, and practical ideas. There's quotes from Voltaire in here. There's quotes from Napoleon. There's quotes from people in the book that you would wonder, well, what does this have to do with money? Well, it doesn't. It has to do with your mental framework and how to think about money. You could easily be any object, but in the modern era, money is what rules the world. So that's why it is the way it is. I get to my biggest takeaways from the book. I've got some sticky notes. I cut them up. I put them in here after the fact. I didn't do this while I was reading, but I did highlight and make some notes. But I wanted to read through some of it and then just kind of give you my thoughts on it and what I didn't think at the time, because I didn't write notes in this one like I do in some of my other books, but I just highlighted, made some parentheses or whatever. But one of the first ones is the premise of this book is that doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. And then the following one on the next page is financial success is not a hard science, it's a soft skill where how you behave is more important than what you know. And you can know all the financial stuff in the world, you can have the lead on the potentially the best stocks or whatever the case is, but if you're not utilizing that knowledge and you're not behaving properly, then it's an issue. If instead of investing in the S&P 500, taking it slow, taking it relatively safe, you just don't invest at all because I'm going to die before I'm 30, or I don't have any money, but you're living paycheck to paycheck, but you make plenty of money. You make 100,000, 200,000, or you're just a doomer and you don't believe that the future is going to, you're going to be able to retire. Then you're not going to invest, and then when you hit 30, 40, 50, you're going to look back and wonder, well, I can't get ahead now because you didn't take the time when you were younger. It also applies to frivolous spending and how we behave with our money. It's not unlimited, but it's not real, it's not tangible. Most of us don't carry around wads of cash, use tons of cash. It's all on a card. Some of it's credit, it's borrowed money. We use a lot of debt, and those can dig us deep to the point where you can't save, you can't invest, you can't prepare for your future. So, like it says, how you behave really is important when it comes to your money, how your financial habits are. Every month, do you put the proper amount of money at the beginning of the paycheck, not the end of the paycheck, into your Roth IRA? Do you have 15%, 10%, 20%, whatever the case is, going into your 401k every month no matter what? Are you building those habits for financial success or not? It doesn't matter if you know about it, if you're reckless in your free time. One in here is a quote within the book, so I'll be quoting the quote, but it says, "Some people are born into families that encourage education, others are against it. Some are born into flourishing economies, encouraging entrepreneurship, others are born into war and destitution. I want you to be successful, I want you to earn it, but realize that not all success is due to hard work, and not all poverty is due to laziness. Keep this in mind when judging other people, including yourself." So one, life isn't fair. We're not all born on equal footing. Equality is a lie, but that doesn't matter. You can be born into a rich family and end up on the streets due to drugs, due to bad choices, due to financial hardship, due to messing with leverage stocks, gambling all your money away. Just like you can be born poor, destitute, in a horrible situation, and through savings, through management, through proper decisions, end up wealthy, if not ultra wealthy. The majority of millionaires in America are not from a wealthy background. They weren't given money. They didn't have an inheritance. They didn't win the lottery. It was through smart decisions and proper savings. So just keep that in mind, that don't think that because you weren't born into a life of luxury or born with a silver spoon that you can't make your way up to set yourself up for success. And with that, be realistic. What is financial security versus being rich, which we'll talk about later. In this book, they actually talk about the difference between wealth and being rich. So don't ever think that because of your background or your current situation that you can't be set up for success in the future. So the next two I'm going to read together, but more than your salary, more than the size of your house, more than the prestige of your job, control over doing what you want, when you want to, with the people you want to, is the broadest lifestyle variable that makes people happy. Money's greatest intrinsic value, and this can't be overstated, is the ability to give you control over time, over your time, to obtain bit by bit a level of independence and autonomy that comes from unspent assets that give you greater control over what you can do and when you can do it. Controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays. Money for the sake of money is pointless. We live in a world where money is required. It's a non-negotiable. You cannot live without currency in the world. Fiat, it is what it is. It rules our capitalistic society. But money for the sake of money doesn't do any good. At least to me, the whole purpose for me to save, to invest, to work a job, to have long hours, to do things that others don't want to do is that when it's time for me to call it quits, when it's time for me to take the hat off and hang it up, I can do it when I want to, not when I have to. That in retirement, whether that's at 50, 55, 60, or 65, I can be retired and maintain a quality of life as good, if not better, than what I'm doing while currently employed. That if I want to go out to Kansas and stay in a cabin, I can do that. If I want to go and drive to Montana and stay there for a month without bringing in any income, I can do that. To me, money's only purpose is to allow me to do what I want to do in my free time, outside of things like food and electricity and housing, Maslow's whole hierarchy of needs, right? But if money didn't let me do what I want to do, then why do I need money? I don't. So to me, the entire purpose is not keeping up with the Joneses. It's not so I can drive a $60,000, $70,000 car and people can talk about it. It's not so I can wear the nicest clothes and all that. Money to me is a gateway to freedom, to allow me to enjoy my life, to do what I want to do and not have to worry about taking on debt or putting a trip aside because if we go on the trip then we can't afford our car payment, or if we want to go and buy a USDA prime steak that we're going to have to skip out on part of the credit card bill or something like that. So to me, that's the only purpose for money, is to allow me to do what I want when I want. And after you hit a certain amount, why do you need more other than money for the sake of money? So I have 3 highlights on the next part here. I don't know if you can see, this is kind of what I do. And these ones were really big to me. They weren't like life-changing or anything, but the definitions here made me really think about them. And it says that the truth is that wealth is what you don't see. Rich is current income, but wealth is hidden. It's income not spent. A lot of times wealth and rich are used interchangeably, but when you think about it, is that you can be wealthy without a job. You can be rich but not wealthy because you're bringing in $500,000 a month, but you're blowing it all on nice cars so that people can see you. And there's a thing called the person inside the car. Most people, when they buy, a Ferrari or a Porsche or even a truck, a lot of times it's truck, especially in America, it's that people think that they're going to look at the truck and see the driver and be like, I want to be like him. That guy's cool or whatever. But realistically, nobody cares about the driver of the Porsche going down the street or the Ferrari. They only care about the Ferrari. So the irony of spending money on something so that people see it and want to be you, but you're not even in the equation. Nobody remembers you. Nobody cares about you. So I think this one's really big, especially for the average American, probably honestly the average European, Asian, or whatever, normal person that has the accessibility to the money markets and stocks and even just savings. Wealth is just accumulated leftovers after you spend what you take in. And since you can build wealth without a high income, but have no chance of building wealth without a high savings rate, it's clear which one matters. Most people that have a lot of money, it's when they hit 65, aren't people who had high paying jobs. Doctors, surgeons, lawyers aren't necessarily the people who have a high retirement fund, who have a lot in their Roth or in their 401k. because they spend it all. They spend it on keeping up with the Joneses. Everyone's been guilty of this. We all do something to try to impress someone or whatever. It's your savings rate that matters, not your income rate. If you get paid $100,000 a year, but you spend 900 or 99,000 of it, you really only have $1,000. But if you get $50,000 a year and you save 25% or 50% of it, it's $25,000. Even if you just save it and you never invest it over 10 years, that's $10,000 versus $250,000. Just stack that up as you go. So it's how much money can you save and put away. Now that doesn't necessarily mean, skimping everywhere you can, penny pinching or whatever. It's just being smart with your money and with your savings rate. But if you can use a coupon, use a coupon. Can you make coffee at the house, or do you like going out? Well, it just depends on what you want. If you really like a good coffee, there's nothing wrong with that. But do you need a $100,000 truck if you don't work construction? If you're not hauling cattle, what do you need a $100,000 truck for when a $20,000 car, $30,000 car will do it? Imagine what you could do with an extra $70,000 invested. I think this one will get to anybody who's either invested improperly, like I did. I had the majority of my investments from 18 to 33 in essentially bonds. That's just what it was set to. The G fund, if you use the TSP, and the growth wasn't great. Or if you didn't get into investing until 40, 50, 60, the quote is, growth is driven by compounding, which always takes time. So the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is today. Don't dwell on the past. It is what it is. You can't go back in time. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Hindsight's 2020. It doesn't matter. How much time do you have between now and retirement? Well, that's how much time you have to compound. So best thing you can do is pump money in there, hope the markets are good, and wait. That's all you can do. You can't grow a tree by hoping it grows faster and harder. You can only grow a tree by waiting. So the last one I want to read, it's in the last chapter. I think it's near the very last page of the last chapter, actually, is, I can afford to not be the greatest investor in the world, but I cannot afford to be a bad one. You can't retire in the modern world without investing. Just saving money doesn't do anything. The rate of inflation in the current era since 2020 and probably before has just been astronomical. So to put just money in a savings account or a checking account, you're just gonna get beat. You're gonna lose inflation. Your money's gonna lose value. And when you thought you saved up $250,000, well, yeah, the numbers are $250,000, but the actual value in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years is going to be a quarter of that at the rate it's going. Since income taxes were created, since the Fed was created, the US dollar has lost 99% of its value. If you put $100,000 into a bank account with zero interest 100 years ago, it would be worth $1,000 in today's in actual money. So you can't rely on just saving money. There is risk. With investing. There's nothing you can do about it. But the S&P 500 has been proven to return gains of 10% on average, 7% adjusted for inflation over the last 30, 40 years. There's going to be years where you have a 30% decrease. There's going to be years where you have a 30% increase. But if you plan for that 7 to 10%, put it in index funds, you're probably going to be okay. If you put enough away, if you think about wealth, if you think about financial freedom, is the ability to walk away when you want to walk away. Who wants to work until they're 70 or 80 years old? I know I don't. The ultimate goal for me is to be done at 50, 55, 60 at the latest. Well, why would I want to be an old man who can't do anything, who's feeble and hobbles around, and I'm trying to run through the woods of Montana bird hunting? It's not going to happen, but I can do it at 50 and 60. There's no reason to work if you don't have to. We don't live in an era where manual labor ruled. We live in the modern world. We don't know what's going to look like in 20, 30 years, but I'm okay with that. But I'm going to plan for it to remain the same. So if you can invest, if you're smart about your money, you change your framework and you think about the money, psychology of money, right? What are your goals? What do you want out of life? Do you want to live a life of luxury? Cool, go for it. But you have to plan for it. Do you want to live a simple life where you can, but you're mobile and you're basically a nomad? Cool, do it. Sit down, write out your plan or think about your plan and just don't talk about it. Like, take action on it and go about it. So for me, the biggest takeaways from the book, some of them were confirmation bias, some of them were new, was that you don't need a reason to save. You don't have to be like, well, I'm going to buy a new truck, so I should start saving. Well, if you already have the money set aside, you don't have to take out a loan, and you don't have to get hit with interest, which is a whole total scam. It should be illegal, but you don't have to worry about that. And think about how much interest you pay on a house over 30 years, and now they're talking about 50-year mortgage payments. Like, it's insane. So you don't need a reason to save. Life is the reason to save. Financial independence allows you to walk away when you want to walk away and do what you want. If you don't need a job, then think about how much less stress is going to be on you if you're not worried about, well, if I walk away from this job, I can't put food on the table. I can't pay for my house. Well, if you don't have that because you've got plenty of money set aside because you were investing smartly into your brokerage account, into your retirement accounts, into all of that, you're putting 25, 30, 40% away every year since you were 18. You walk away at 40, 45, 50, or you just walk away and take an easier job because you don't want the stress of it all. If you were in a leadership position for 30 years and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, I just want a mundane, thoughtless job, then you can go and do that. Simple is best. Don't overthink it. Do what has a proven track history. When you're looking at the stocks and investing, don't look at the last year, don't look at the last 5 years. How far back can you go? That's what you want. You have to have a risk tolerance. It's not risk-free. If you're concerned that you might lose money and you don't invest, well, you're certainly going to lose money. You might lose money investing, but you will lose money if you don't. And then savings equals wealth, wealth equals independence, and independence equals freedom. And if you don't want freedom, I don't know what you're doing with your life. So that's Psychology of Money. It's a really good book. I do recommend it. I don't necessarily say you need to buy it. It is a book that would be good to take notes in, but if you can get an ebook for like $1.99, or you can pick it up at the library, that might be the best bet. I don't know how much rereadability this thing has. I don't know how much more insight you would glean from a second or third look. Maybe you would. I don't know. So I wouldn't say it's on the must-buy list, but I would read it. I would find a way to have it, borrow it from a friend, get it from the library, whatever the case is. So yeah, that's Psychology of Money. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Go ahead and leave me a like if you liked the video. If you didn't, let me know you didn't like it. That's cool too. And if you have read the book, what did you like about it? And do you have recommendations for other financial books that aren't just trying to sell you something or a how-to guide? With that, appreciate you watching and hope you have a great day.